Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome today for our first in many of our live Monday free marketing plan Q&A calls, webcast. Not sure exactly what the right terminology is going to be using. We're using, at least for right now, the GoToWebinar platform to have you submit your questions and also to be able to have you feedback with your live comments if you'd like. A lot of you are actually watching this on a replay. If you are not watching on Monday, May 17th at 3 o'clock Central, which is what it is right now. So we are going to do this in 30 minutes. I've committed to do this 30 minutes almost every Monday. Most Mondays I want to do this, and I think if you got my email today, the reason being is that I'm trying to create some additional content for a book I'm working on right now, and I'm looking at really trying to get the pulse of what's going on with business owners and marketing managers today, the challenges they're dealing with, because we're in a new marketing world, even different than it was maybe even 12 months ago. And I get this one a lot: how to best measure the ROI of social network marketing. And typically what that is, at least in this era right now, is how do you measure the effectiveness of things like Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and anything where you're not directly necessarily buying ads. You're investing in some technology, or you're investing in the marketing there. And I think what would be good here, and I prepared a couple slides on this, especially for some of you who don't know how to actually calculate ROI, or return on investment, is to give you just a quick little definition here. So first of all, if you're going to measure ROI, you've got to know what it is. Well, ROI is profit divided by your marketing investment times 100, and that's expressed as a percentage. And if you think about a return on investment, oftentimes investors, just in the stock market or whatever they're doing, when they have money to invest, they want a return on their investment. So this is the formula that you use. And let me just break this down with just a real basic, very simple example here. And that is, say you have, oops, sorry about that. Go back to this slide here. Say you have sales of $500. Your product cost is $220. And you spent $250 on marketing. Now, these may be totally outrageous numbers, but I'm just trying to give you an idea of what's happening here. You are making $30 profit on a $250 investment. So you actually took $250 out of your bank account, you bought some media, you made $500 worth of sales, your product cost on those sales was $220. You had $30 left over, plus you have the $250 back in your pocket. So your return on that investment is a 12% return. So you have to ask yourself, if you were just taking that money and investing it in anything else, saying, well, okay, could I get 12% on a CD? No. In fact, knowing return on investment is a real good way to convince the financial people in your organization why you should market. And all marketing should really be calculated with a return on investment in mind. Ideally, now sometimes you're going to run into a situation where you are not recouping your marketing cost right away up front. And you may actually spend, say in this example, you might have spent $600 on marketing, made sales of $500, and your product cost was $220, and then you'd have a negative amount. So, but you may, in the long term, make some investments back, and so that's what you need to consider these factors right here. First of all, you need to understand what the cost is to acquire a new customer, and you need to calculate that for all of your marketing efforts. And one way you can do that, just a real quick litmus test, would be to take a look at how many new customers you gather over a year. You have to keep track of all this stuff, and then how much money you spent on marketing over the course of that same period, and that will give you a very rough amount of how much it costs to get your new customers. But the other piece of information you really need to know to help you really judge and gauge how well ROI is doing is how much a new customer is worth over their lifetime. Because, again, you may make an initial sale that even breaks even, or you lose money on the first sale, but through follow-up sales, you can gather much more revenue. So what you really need to do in calculating your ROI is looking at that whole lifetime value of that customer. Think back to the days when AOL would be sending out all those discs for 30 free hours of internet and wondering why in the world, and it must have cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to send out all these discs, and people will try it for, maybe they try it for 30 days and then quit. Well, what AOL knew was not everyone was going to quit, especially if they set up an email address. And the second thing is, when you're getting $20, $30 a month from these customers, you just start doing that over 10 months, 12 months, 2 years. All of a sudden you can see the lifetime value of one of those customers starts to really add up. And then you look at factors like churn factor, which how often or how soon will someone go off of a service like that. So really keep in mind how much a new customer is worth over their lifetime and the cost to acquire a new customer. Then the other thing you need to do to measure return on investment for any media, and again, we want to just try to help you focus here on the social media marketing, but you really have to treat that like any other media, is you need benchmarks to measure. So if you're setting up a social media campaign, whether it's with Twitter or Facebook or whatever it is, you first of all need to have some goals in place. And you say, well, in the next year, I would like to get X number of customers. Okay, you set that goal, so that a year from now you can go back and say, okay, did we achieve that goal? There was the benchmark. Here's how much we invested, and here's how many customers we got off of that. You also have to track sales on that as well, because that's going to be the real factor. It's not necessarily sometimes how many customers, it's how much those customers are spending, or which ones are coming in and converting. So you need to determine maybe the percent of increase of sales since the time you started social media, and then attribute a percentage of that to your social media marketing. And this is where tracking comes in really important. If you can track your efforts, and you can do that with offers or special landing pages, or if you're going to draw people into your site from a social media site, I suggest setting up a landing page that's specific, kind of a specific backdoor for them, and then install things like Google Analytics on your website so you can find out where these people are coming from, and you can track how many people come into your site, and then with the analytics on there, if you are using some of the conversion tracking techniques, then you can actually find out how much money maybe that person is spending if you keep the appropriate records. So I think and again, conversion rate on your new customers is really almost more important to look at than the total number of new customers. So I hope that answers your question. You measure ROI on social media marketing the same way you measure ROI on any other kind of media. You determine, again, what your cost to acquire a new customer is, how much they're worth over their lifetime. You look at the investment, and then you see how much profit you make on that investment. And again, you're looking for a return on investment. This is where people a lot of times get hung up about investing into advertising and marketing programs, because investing is really what it's like. It's just like you're a stockbroker, but you're taking your resources, your capital, you're putting it into marketing efforts in order to produce an investment. And that's how it's done, folks. So just keep that in mind. That's all I really have time for today, folks. Appreciate it. For more information, you can always go to marketingplanguide.com. And until next Monday, which is May 24th, and I will be here at 3 o'clock Central. I'll be sending out an invitation on that as well. Thank you for attending, and we'll talk to you again soon.